The Biden regime was hoping they were going to pull a quick one on you, of course, by inflating their jobs numbers over the last, several months. According to reports, though, they overestimated over 800,000 jobs created, of course. Now, that's coming straight from the Bureau of Labor itself. Ultimately, folks, why would they be doing this? Well, we're in an election year. It's also worth noting that all of a sudden, gas prices are starting to fall down. And according to several left leaning news outlets, we could hit lows that we haven't seen since 2021. Again, what's the consistency in all of this? Election time. Joining me to discuss is Dr. Kirk Elliott. Dr. Kirk, thanks for jumping on with me. I saw this report last week and then also saw over the weekend that we might actually see significantly lower gas prices and they're starting to fall down. So it screams to me that we're in like an election year panic at this point. What do you make of all of this?
Well, it absolutely screams that. And when you like, we'll start with the job numbers, right? And so this has been going on for quite some time, where the administration fudges the numbers, right? And here's the story: it's like, ooh, better than expected jobs this month, right? And that's one of the most widely used leading economic indicators that impacts the markets, because people think, wow, they created more jobs, more people are spending. When more people spend, the corporate revenues go up, and that happens, stock prices go up, right? So it's always Bidenomics is so amazing. We created way more jobs. Well, then, like clockwork, 30 days later, they revise those numbers downward. But they do it, in close proximity or even on the same day that the same story is coming out for the next month. It's like, ooh, better than expected job numbers. Where under the covers that same day, it's like, ooh, the revision from last month, it's like we actually lost a bunch of jobs, right? So like, here's the story. If you've been doing this for quite some time, talking about the news and and if you say something that's incorrect, Breanna, what's going to happen? That the haters on social media say she's a liar, right? So you're going to come out, because I know you're a moral, ethical person and you always want to tell the truth. You're going to say, sorry, everybody, I actually made a mistake yesterday. And you know what? They're not going to cover your apology. They're only going to cover the first part, right? So this is the same thing with the government, where they don't ever cover the revision stories, except they did now, because it got so egregious and there's no way that you can hide it. And it actually started to come out on different alternative news, that, wow, it wasn't these better than expected numbers. It was 818,000 jobs vanished. So this is the result of Bidenomics. People aren't working, wages are coming down while inflationary prices are going up. I mean, this is so bad, right? So now in an election year, what are you going to do? You're going to try to think, okay, if there's not enough people working, there's no tax revenues. Sales tax revenues are down, property tax revenues, income tax revenues, all of those things are going to be down when people don't work. So what's their goal? It's like, we got to generate revenue. And politicians are really good at not looking at the right side of the equation, right? They're going to say, if our income is down, we're going to raise taxes to generate more of it. It's like, well, how about you look at it in a more reasonable way, where people are already tapped out, and say, let's lower taxes, get more people spending. And when more people spend, they got to hire more people and everything goes up, right? So they just look at it backwards. But here's Biden's stupid, I mean, horribly economically stupid plan. And that is to raise capital gains to 44.9%. And Kamala Harris is all behind it. She said, yep, this is good. Of course they would say that, because they're communists, right? And it's like, these kind of things are so bad. When, imagine if you had a stock portfolio that went from 100 to 100 and, well, let's just say it went from $1 million to $1.1 million, right? You gained $100,000. So what do they want to do? Well, tax you at 44.9%, almost half of it. But it doesn't stop there. Now they have something that's even worse than that they're planning, and that's a 25% tax on unrealized gains. That means you haven't even sold it. There is no profit yet. They're just going to pick some arbitrary day during the year, probably when the stock market's high, so they can make more of it. And they can say, okay, Breanna, you have $1 million portfolio and we're going to tax you 25%, even though you don't have any income from it. There's no capital gain. We're just going to tax you because you have it. So then let's just say your portfolio went up $100,000 that year and you have to pay $25,000 in unrealized capital gains. But what if you're fully invested and you don't have that money to pay it? Well, then you have to sell your stock to generate the capital to pay the unrealized capital gain. Now you've just incurred a realized capital gain that they want at 44.9%. Literally, they want to take almost 75% of your growth in taxes. So stupid. I mean, this is so bad. It's going to kill the markets. But this is how communists think when they start running out of money. They're really good at using other people's money and not their own to fund all of these social welfare programs and all of these different infrastructure things and the government bureaucracy. It's just these policies. This is why it's so incredibly important that Trump wins this election, which is why they're trying everything within their power to make the election not happen or, discredit anybody on the right. I mean, we've seen freedom of speech being absolutely obliterated over the weekend with Telegram, the founder of Telegram, having to be arrested because of human trafficking or drug trafficking. Who knows if that's the real story? They just want to shut down the platform. And then you had the founder of Rumble actually fled Europe because he's afraid he's going to get arrested too. It's like shutting down free speech platforms in an election year is another one of those communist agendas that I think they need to run with. And they are now, because they are, we have to navigate through that very carefully. But we can, and we financially, we can succeed. You just have to be in the right place at the right time. And that's why we talk about gold and silver all the time.
Yeah, and I think it's really important. You just spoke about so much. First off, I want to say that the attack on free speech is the hill that I'm willing to die on at this point, because once they're able to control the speech, once they're able to control media, they've won everything. The government should not be the truth tellers, because we all know that they can't be trusted, and that's what they're trying to do through Telegram. The CEO of Telegram specifically going on Tucker Carlson's show just months prior and ultimately saying that our own U.S. intelligence agencies tried to pull aside one of his employees and tried to get him to use some backdoor programs for Telegram, so they had a way to go into a back channel to spy on millions of people. That's egregious in itself. But again, like you alluded to, they're pretending like he has some ties to child trafficking. We've never seen that before. We don't know if that's true, but they wanted their hands in the pot when it comes to that. And that's the reason why he openly said, I'm afraid to fly to certain countries. I think they'd hold me. And that's what they're doing right now in France. And I also think it's disgusting when you talk about the capital gains taxes. It just highlights the fact that they don't want people to have independent wealth. They don't like it when you can't rely on the government. And that's what they're trying to do. They don't want you to invest your money into the markets and become independently wealthy, because it doesn't give the government much leeway into holding things against you. And so that's what they're trying to do here. I want to talk about last week. We saw gold bars go up to $1 million was their worth last week. I mean, you've been talking about it for quite some time, telling folks at home to invest in precious metals because that was going to be your key to financial independence. And we're seeing it play out now. What's your take on gold bars going up to about $1 million a bar?
Well, it depends on the size of the gold bar, right? But here's the thing: it's a flight for quality. It's these prices are starting to go up a lot, right? Because people don't trust the system anymore. And so even with that story, now you're looking at new developments on the silver side. Samsung developing a solid state battery that's going to have, imagine this, the electric car world, the electric vehicles. Takes about 17 hours to fully charge an electric vehicle, has a 300-mile range, and maybe a 10-year lifespan on the batteries. Their new solid-state battery gets rid of all the toxic electrolyte liquids that are in these batteries that are in our cars, right? To 1 kilo of silver in each one of those electric vehicle batteries that has a 20-year shelf life, a 600-mile range, and a full charge in 9 minutes. 9 minutes, not 17 hours. Every electric vehicle manufacturer in the world is going to use this technology. That would account for 63% of all the global production of silver, just in that one application. So here's where you've got that happening. People are looking for something that is going to be minimize their risk and maximize your return. With all of these new technological innovations and things that are needed, silver for, like military applications and missiles and torpedoes, solar power, this electric vehicle stuff, Samsung's new discovery or invention. It's like, I mean, this is why silver's projected now to hit $50 to $75 an ounce this year. I mean, I've been saying that for quite some time for fundamental reasons, right? But I'm not God. I don't control the markets. But these are where now mainstream economists are now saying we should hit that. Breanna, it's $30 today. Even if they're dumb and they're so wrong and it only does half that, that's still massive growth, right? So anyways, point is to create wealth, be in the right place at the right time the majority of the time. This is why we're recommending people go into precious metals like silver, or like what that story said about gold. The demand is so high that you're starting to get extraordinary prices for things.
Yeah. And that's why it's so important to do just that. And you've been talking about it for months now. And for our audience, they're probably well versed on this because we've had you on, literally telling everyone, this is the time, join in now. And we're watching the prices skyrocket. So again, folks, if you're interested in learning more about how you can invest in precious metals, Dr. Kirk Elliott has a great team set up for you. They are amazing. You're going to want to go right now to BreannaGold.com, fill out that contact form. It's that simple. Someone from Kirk Elliott's team is going to give you a call, schedule an appointment, and you can learn about your options. The call is free. If you'd like, also feel free to give them a call directly at 720-605-3900. That's 720-605-3900. Or if you just want them to call you, it's BreannaGold.com is the best platform to utilize. Dr. Kirk, thank you so much. We appreciate your time as always.
It's my pleasure. We'll talk soon.
It's a new addition to my bathroom that everyone who comes over is loving these days, and it's my Fern Valley soaps. No, seriously, folks, these are incredible soaps, and I can't stop bragging about them because they are goat milk-based soaps. Now, they also have an incredible lotion, which I put right by the soap, and everyone's loving that. It's thick, but it's also not greasy, which is so important. And the soap bars are beautiful. So head on over to fernvalleysoaps.com. Take a look around. I just ordered another order because I'm all out of my lotion, so I had to get another round of those. But then I also added, you guys are going to love it, it's patriotic goat milk soap. It's called United We Stand. It is beautiful. Take a look at that work of art. When you head on over to Fern Valley Soaps, use promo code BRE, that's promo code BRE, to save 20% on your order. Plus, when you buy over 8 bars of soap, you're also going to get an extra 10% off. So head on over to fernvalleysoaps.com. If you missed that, the link is in the description of this video, and use that promo code BRE, that's promo code BRE, to save 20% on your order.